Hey, Billy Manning here. Welcome to the Garden Report. Time for a temperature check on the panic meter. We pulled out the panic meter again tonight. Why not? The Celtics
it's appropriate. Yeah.
The Celtics just blew a 10-point lead late with 5 minutes to go. We talked about that, and Jayson Tatum's rolling it. Now we have a game 6, and DeJounte Murray's about to come back.
Look out.
Trae Young found his shot here in this game. I thought John Collins was great too, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
So Hawks figured out quite a bit in this game. In terms also how to slow the Celtics, doubling Jayson Tatum, forcing turnovers late. They defended well to close this game, and now they feel good about themselves going home in a game 6. We'll start here. We know game 7's a toss-up, so all we got to do is look at game 6 and say, can the Hawks steal another game at home? Can they get hot? They were so hot to start this game, 60% from 3, 8 of 13.
Yeah,
can Young keep going?
Helped a long way.
Can Murray fit into everything that they did tonight? I think that's a key thing too. And how motivated is he going to be? That's a factor. Like, he could really come storming out here. So there's quite a bit I look at here, along with the offensive rebounding stuff we've talked about, turnovers, the ways that the Hawks have kept these games close, because these have all been pretty close games at this point.
CLNS Media's Celtics coverage is brought to you by FanDuel. Sign up at FanDuel.com/Boston and make every moment more on America's #1 sportsbook.
1 to 10, how worried are you that there's going to be a game 7 in this series now?
I'll go 6. I'll go 6.
You're above 5.
I'm not going to go that high because of what the history has told us, right? What this team does in situations like this, how they respond. So I'll give the Celtics the benefit of the doubt. In the long run, it's just not good. Again, it's just a flaw, a characteristic flaw of the Celtics that I feel like is still part of who they are. Can they shake it off going into the next round? We have to wait and see. But the rebounding is key. I think that's something that we have to zero in on. We know what Rob Williams meant to that Game 4 win for the Celtics. What was it, 16? Game high 16 rebounds. And just controlling that part of the game, I think is a big part of it when it comes to the Atlanta Hawks. I mean, they thrive off of that when they get their fast break going. But of course, three-point shooting is key too. I mean, outside of Clint Capella, every single player who checked in up until like midway through the second had hit at least one three-pointer.
Johnson even hit one.
Sadiq Bey hit one. It was like each of them had one, and then that type of momentum, I feel like, kind of lingered until someone like Trae Young went off. You know what I mean? But again, the rebounding, the Celtics have to win that rebounding matchup because that makes things easier. Do you go to Grant Williams? Do we see something drastic happen? Maybe. I mean, maybe not drastic, but maybe there's some sort of change to kind of motivate these guys, and that's really going to come down to Joe Mazzulla. Do you think he's getting outcoached, or was he outcoached tonight?
It's part of it. I'm going to Tatum first.
Quinn Snyder's been, look, he's really got these guys. He's galvanized these guys.
He coached around having no Murray tonight, which almost felt impossible. And it's not like the Hawks came back from down 30. They stayed close throughout the game, even on the big Celtics runs. So they were within striking distance with 5 minutes left. 10's not the biggest deficit in the world with 5 minutes to go in a game with the threes and all that. So they work their way back. They keep themselves close enough. And I think the key is, when you talk about Mazzulla, Snyder there, the rotation's late. No. He's going to take a long look, I think, at what they've done on both ends of the series. Earlier in the series, they go very small and try to play to their strengths, the shooting and all that. Rebounding becomes a problem, so they go bigger last game, and they go big to close this game.
Right.
And that involved a weird Blake Griffin appearance that I don't think killed them, but he fouls a couple times. They allowed 3 quick baskets before the actual run. Then they're calling timeout to get Rob and Al back out there together, and it keeps Malcolm Brogdon off the floor, which, to get to the bigger question here, I think we both agree they're going to win this series. The question is, will something like this prevent them from winning a championship? And I've said all along, I don't see them winning a title this year, just because of stuff like this. And if I'm looking at their issues in these moments, you thought Brogdon would have been brought in to be a solution in these moments, and they're still struggling from Mazzulla's perspective to decide who they want out there late. White's out there playing great, but they're not looking for him. Smart didn't shoot late either, fouled a couple times, offensive fouls, a problem. And Brogdon, who was amazing in that third quarter, just draining shot after shot after shot, is sitting on the bench watching the collapse.
Yeah, the Hawks don't really have a solution for him, too, either. Like, he can slither through guys, he gets to the paint.
Can't all 3 of those guys play together?
I mean, I just think because of the rebounding matchup, Mazzulla's really fixated on that. I think he's scared to do that down the stretch.
And you got to pick between Brown and Tatum, too.
Yeah, right. And especially if in this, at least in this situation, in Game 5, where Tatum didn't have it, I just felt like that was sort of his security blanket to hope that the Celtics could secure more possessions.
The right choice there. And
I mean, he's always talking about securing more possessions than the other team, and obviously that's big. That's essentially what rebounding is. But it's also a momentum thing, and it really helps the Atlanta Hawks. It works in their favor when they're winning the rebounding game and they're getting those extra possessions down the stretch for someone like Trae Young.
Yeah, so they're going to have to make tough choices rotation-wise in terms of that championship. How much did tonight hurt your confidence in their ability to win a title?
Again, you wonder what they're going to look like down the road. So a little bit. I mean, I just think it was a golden opportunity that you miss out on. Again, it shows that this is still part of who they are. And I thought this is, to finish, it's something I almost brought up in our last video, I thought this was a great opportunity for Jaylen Brown to put together a great performance and seal a win, you know. And when things were shaky,
I think that would have been one of our 2 videos tonight if they win.
Oh, 100%. I mean, the face of adversity, take the mantle, and I feel like Joe Mazzulla was thinking the same thing. You know, it didn't work out. It's unfortunate, but maybe this is something that helps him down the road. And Jaylen all of a sudden knows how to close out games, knows how to make those decisions. You want to throw to Rob? Well, make that decision beforehand. Deceive us a bit, because you let the defense know in your body language and sense where he goes into the air and he's making that decision mid-air. He has to get rid of those habits, and I think the Celtics sort of they want him to go through this process, but it's unfortunate that he wasn't able to thrive in it, because I think it would go a long way for him mentally and for the team, knowing that on nights when Tatum doesn't have it and Jaylen's going off the way he was, on pace, at least it seemed like, to score 40 points tonight, and couldn't close out or couldn't make those decisions, and let's face it, kind of froze a bit, right? He froze in that moment when he saw Trae hit back-to-back shots. All of a sudden it's a tie game and the ball's in his hand, and I just saw a lot of trepidation in his approach.
Yeah, I'm not concerned about a Game 7. I think, like you said, if we're looking at what happened in the past with this team, these big letdowns usually get followed by massive
domination,
win.
right? And Tatum goes off for 40, and whatever. If that's the case, then so be it. Celtics win, but man, you're always going to wonder what's going to happen when they're in this situation again, because it's going to happen again. This is a long postseason. If this team is to make it to the NBA Finals, or at least the Eastern Conference Finals, they will be in this predicament again and again, and it may be Giannis Antetokounmpo on the other end, or maybe, you know, if they get out that series, or maybe Embiid,
who gets an extra day with this loss here, and that's the kind of stuff we talk about, making it harder on themselves.
Man.
Another game could lead to injuries on the Celtics side. That's the bigger worry than going to a Game 7, and that's why I think your championship odds probably decreased. I don't know about how much, but at least some amount with this loss, by having to go down to Atlanta, by receiving less of a gap between these series now. Philly still waiting. That series will start on Monday no matter what. Game 6 is on Thursday. A Game 7 will be on Saturday, and we'll have coverage of all of it. For Celtics All Access and CLNS Media, Josue, Pavon, Bobby Manning, this has been The Garden Report.
The Garden Report is brought to you by BetterHelp. If you want to live a more empowered life, therapy can get you there. Visit betterhelp.com/garden today to get 10% off your first month. This edition of The Garden Report is also brought to you by Athletic Greens. Visit athleticgreens.com/garden for a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase.